Hello, so today we're just going to do a good old-fashioned get ready with me. I don't think I'm going to talk through my makeup too much, but I will leave linked below everything that I used. The makeup that I'm going to be doing today is like a recreation of what I did a couple of weekends ago. My sister got married for the third time in Laughlin, and I sort of I wanted something like fresh and pretty, I guess. I was wearing a yellow dress, so I was trying to figure out what to create for this yellow dress. And I did a little bit of color, more color than I usually do. Usually I'm very rosy colors and purples, but I went for, what I used was the Crystal Grid Gemstone palette from Aether Beauty, and there are some yellow colors in here. So that's sort of what I use, and that's what I'm going to recreate today. So, yeah, like I said, I'm just going to talk through it, or not talk through it, so that way I can just sort of chat, and this is not a specific makeup look. Because sometimes I like to do makeup looks where I don't talk about anything but the makeup, and then other times I just want to sit and talk. I don't really know what I want to talk about yet, but we'll figure it out as we go along. I guess the first thing that I'll talk about is my hair. If you did not see the video that I posted previous to this one, I got my hair cut, obviously. My hair has been incredibly long for a while. The last time I really did a good cut on it was when I was pregnant. I think I was around 6 months pregnant when I cut it, and I didn't cut it this short. This is the shortest that I've ever cut it. Not ever. But in a really long time. I think the last time I got my hair cut, even anywhere close to this short, was in 7th grade, and that was because I decided to cut my own hair, and it was sort of a fix, was to make it, I don't know. I honestly think that my mom was punishing me for cutting my own hair, because what I did, this is so stupid. I mean, all kids do this, right? At some point, but not when they're in 6th grade. I don't know. I was changing schools because my mom had gotten, oh no, mom didn't get married, we moved. So for 7th grade I was changing schools, and for some reason I think what it was is I had this piece of hair up here or something, and I decided to take a razor to the front of my head. Why that was a good idea, I don't know. So I ended up with this bald spot right here. So I think as punishment my mom cut my hair, because my hair was really long. My mom cut my hair. It was like a pixie cut. It looked so bad on me. I was miserable. In 7th grade, I was just absolutely miserable. Yeah, I was not happy. But I think she did that as punishment for having done that to myself. I don't know, but, so yeah, that was the last time I had my hair cut really short, and, I just decided that I wanted to sort of chop a bunch off. My hair is healthy, and my hair is, even when it was long, I hadn't gotten my hair cut in a year, my hair is really healthy. I don't have a ton of breakage or split ends. I mean, there's the occasional one, but they're not very many. But I just decided to just lob it all off. This is the first time you guys have ever seen my hair not past the viewfinder. So yeah, I'm still figuring it out. My hairdresser curled it yesterday and it looked really good. I tried to curl it again today because I slept on it and I wasn't going to be taking a shower today, so I tried to curl it first with a flat iron and then with a curling iron, and it looks a mess because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. So that was a little bit of the inspiration for cutting it, is because I want to learn how to style my hair, and with long hair it's kind of impossible, at least for me. I know some people with long hair will curl their hair, you know, just fine and it looks great, but I've tried to curl my hair with super long hair and it just looks a hot mess. So I'm gonna be trying to learn how to style my hair with short hair. I don't know, we might keep it this length, we'll see. We'll see. The picture that I showed her, I think the model must have had a much longer neck, because the model's hair was a lot longer, and it just happened to fall at her collarbone or whatever. But I just must have a much shorter neck than she did, because we chopped off a lot of hair, 11 inches to be exact. So that's what I did yesterday. It was almost, you know, there was a little bit too, because I was talking to this company about possibly doing some sponsored content for a hair vitamin, because I was you know, I was thinking it's a company that I know. It wasn't like a totally like random company, which is the only reason I was considering it. But there was a lot of back and forth about their requirements and, you know, price and stuff like that. So that didn't pan out. So I was thinking too, I would cut my hair a lot shorter to, you know, see how these like hair vitamins worked, but that didn't work out. I find, you know, I don't get, you know, legitimate, or not even like legitimate, but I don't get like serious brands that I would seriously consider doing sponsored content for, like email me a lot, and like every once in a while it happens, but then it doesn't work out. Like I was talking to another brand on Instagram, and then yesterday I was like following up and they're like totally ignored my post. So I don't know. It's just like some brands don't want to pay you at all. And then there are other brands who aren't really serious about it. Or maybe they're hoping that you'd say you'd do it for free or whatever. And I don't have a problem with sponsored content as long as it like aligns with me. Like the things that I would never do sponsored content for anything that I wouldn't like totally recommend you guys. And like hair vitamins isn't something that I would usually use, but the ingredients on them were good. It was for a brand that I had, you know, I've used a product of theirs before. It wasn't the hair vitamins, but it was something else. But oh well, didn't work out. But like I was saying, I don't have a problem with sponsored content. I do have a problem when I see like people won't do anything but sponsored content. Like even if it's brands that they trust, the fact that they won't share anything unless they're being paid to share, that rubs me the wrong way. But I don't know, everybody's different. Everybody does their own thing, and I'd rather take on sponsored content than, I've been thinking about this a lot. I'd rather take on sponsored content to help fund more, like I'm receiving less from brands these days, and I'm actually buying more than I had the previous 2 years. I received quite a lot of stuff and I bought very little, but I've been buying a lot of stuff on my own lately. You know, a lot of that is, there's like a couple of reasons for it. Is like, I feel like brands are less responsive to me now than they used to be. I don't know if it's just because the blogosphere is so saturated. They're just like, I mean, it is. There's so many bloggers these days. It's just becoming very, very competitive, and it's a little, it's a little hard to deal with. I mean, because do there really need to be like 8 million bloggers talking about all the same stuff? And I don't know. And you know, brands probably get inundated with emails all the time about like sending them free stuff. And these days I don't really reach out to brands anymore. I will reach out to a brand if I've worked with them in the past, but very rarely. Oh, I'm missing a step. Very rarely will I reach out to a brand new brand unless they reach out to me. Well, obviously I'm not reaching out to them because they're reaching out to me, but I'm trying to find my concealer brush. But yeah, I'm not really reaching out to brands that much. The occasional amount of free product that I'm getting these days, it's because brands reached out to me and not because I reached out to brands. So I'm not really reaching out to brands anymore. I'm spending a lot more of my own money. So yeah, and what I was trying to say is that I've been thinking about this a lot recently, is because I am spending a lot more money, you know, on stuff that I want to do. Like I picked up a ton of different concealers recently because I'm doing a concealer video. I all of a sudden had this idea that I wanted to do like a beauty blender showdown, because I have these ideas. So like, here are the ideas that I have that I'm working on, and will you see them anytime soon? I don't know. So I want to do like a whole concealer lineup, or like concealer week, because I've got a ton of concealers that I'm testing out right now. Here's one. This is the Alima Pure Powder Concealer in Linen, which I really like. It has really good coverage. But I'm trying a lot of different concealers for like these concealer videos that I'm doing. So there's that. I'm working on some concealer stuff. I'm also working on like vegan dupes for my favorite non-vegan products. So if you watched my whatever day I posted on before this, the one I posted this week, the Flower and Spice, that was sort of like that, because, or at least one product was. their glow exfoliator. That's a vegan dupe for like a non-vegan product that I really like. But I want to work on more of those. Like I want to find vegan dupes for the Fit Glow concealer. I want to find vegan dupes for like other non-vegan things, because I am a vegan channel and I know that a lot of people don't understand why I still use honey and beeswax, even though, I mean, I haven't really explained it, but I do support like local organic honey and beeswax, because the research that I've done, I know I keep talking about this, but I do still want to do a video on it eventually, is, what am I trying to say? The research that I've done is supporting local, local businesses is better for the bees than, you know, supporting, you know, like a really, like a large scale honey operation, because most of the time, like the documentaries that I've watched and like all the research that I've done, is the honey, if you're spending, or the honey from those kinds of companies, like the really large scale ones, it's not even honey, it's like sugar syrup. So, yeah, I want to support organic and like local honey because it's better for the bees. And like, as you know, for animal agriculture, the only animals that we need as humans to survive are bees, because bees pollinate such a large portion of our food supply, and we need them to survive and pollinate our food. Otherwise our food is going to get very, very boring, because there will be less choices. There will be less of it. We'll all probably die, I don't know. But yeah, I believe that we should be supporting the only animal agriculture we should be supporting is bee. Anyway, I'm spending too much time on that. But the main thing is, I know that I'm a vegan channel, and a lot of people are confused why I am named Cruelty-Free Vegan Beauty if I still talk about honey and beeswax sometimes. I've even had some people telling me that I need to change my name, which is a valid criticism. Like, I get it, but I mean, I love honey products too, and I want to keep supporting them, but I want to bring you guys dupes for the things that I love that have beeswax and honey in them, so I could say, here's this thing that I really, really love, but here is a vegan version of it that if you want something like this, you can try this. So like the Jungle Glow or the Honey Love from Leilani, the dupe for that would be the Flower and Spice Calming Glow Exfoliator. So do you know what I mean? I want to do a lot of videos like that. And then I want to do videos like the one I was talking about with the beauty blender video, or like the beauty sponge. So I did buy a beauty blender. It'll be the first time I've ever tried a beauty blender. So I want to do a comparison of like this $20 beauty blender to like this $8 Hint beauty sponge, which I already really love. Is the $20 beauty blender really better than the $8 sponge? I don't know. So, I mean, that's one that I'm working on. And then I'm also working on a eye primer one. So like a $7 eye primer versus $24. Like, I want to do videos like that. So I want to do videos that are more helpful. Because I know that, you know, there's people on a budget, can't afford to be spending as much money as, you know, some bloggers. You know, they only recommend the really expensive stuff, you know. Not everybody can do that. So I want to have options for those people who can't, you know, spend that much money on stuff. Anyway, those are things that I'm working on. So what was I saying? Yeah, because I want to work on more video ideas like this that are helpful, instead of just doing like favorites videos or, you know, my beauty box reviews all the time, or just like, you know, get ready with me's. I want to do stuff that's more helpful. In order to do that, I need money. So I need to be able to fund all of these things that you know, every once in a while I'll reach out to a company, I won't hear back. Or like sometimes a PR company or something will reach out to me and then that'll work out, but it's not happening as much anymore. And I think just because the blogosphere is so saturated. So in order to do these things, I want to take on more sponsored content. Like, I'm not opposed to that. And I would rather, the point I was trying to make earlier is I would rather take on sponsored content then start something like a Patreon. And that's going to be controversial, I know. Everybody on YouTube is like starting a Patreon these days, and I just feel like that's competition I'm not prepared for, because I know that there are some people who have started Patreons and by definition they're pretty successful. I don't think that not only do I not agree with, for me, starting a Patreon, I don't think it's like, I don't want to ask you guys to fund my hobby. That just, for me, that's not what I don't want that. I don't want to ask you guys to help fund me buying beauty products, because I have a full-time job, you know, I'm paying my bills, whatever. Basically, as if I started a Patreon, you'd be paying for beauty products or whatever. You know, maybe you guys don't think that there's an issue with that, and that's fine. If you support other people's Patreons, like, this is not to be offensive in any way or whatever, but for me, it's not what I want to do. I'd rather take on sponsored posts to help fund things that I want to do, from brands, the sponsored posts from brands that I, you know, trust and work with already, than ask you guys to fund my hobby. Does that make sense? So I am looking for opportunities for more sponsored content. It's not working out that well so far. Really all that I've got right now is the edible beauty, which doesn't happen often, but it's good to have that. But yeah, so what I will say is that if you guys want to support, you know, me, or you want to support your favorite blogger, it doesn't have to be me, could be anybody, use their affiliate links. I know that I've talked about that too, and I don't like to promote them the way that some people do. I don't like to try to make you feel guilty if you don't use them. Or like say that I need you guys to, you know, use my affiliate links to pay for something specific. So something that I've never talked about is like where the money goes. A lot of it goes right back into this channel to like buy things to fund the channel. But for a long time, you guys know that I was dealing with infertility stuff and infertility and sheep. To not be able to have a baby naturally is not cheap at all. It's very expensive, even if you don't even do IVF. Even if you just do, you know, like hormone treatments or Clomid, there's a lot that insurance doesn't pay for. And we had ended up racking up quite the credit card debt. So a lot of what paid for our infertility treatments, like my dad paid for a bunch. I think he probably paid for about half. I would say that in total, it probably cost us $20,000 to have Oliver, which is like a staggering amount, and it's very common. And at IVF, it could cost $20,000 around, depending. We didn't have to do IVF, thankfully. But what, you know, Gilbert was on a lot of hormone replacements, and I had to do Clomid 3 times, and we had like injections and things like that. It was just, that's the route that we decided to take, because you know, I'm older. I wasn't willing to wait to like see if it would happen naturally, which it wouldn't, because in our situation it would not have happened. So that's the route that we took, and it probably cost us around 20 grand. And you know what sucks now? This seems to happen like anytime like anything happens to us, my work decides to like implement these new health insurance things. So this year, what's new is infertility is now covered by my insurance. It's like, why couldn't this happen 4 years ago? So I wouldn't have had to rack up this massive amount of debt. Anyway, the point is that we had racked up this massive amount of debt. My dad did help pay for a lot of it, but there became a point where he just couldn't anymore because it was just getting way too expensive. So we had racked up, you know, 20 or 10K in like credit card debt. So once Oliver was born, once the, you know, the birth center was paid for, because the birth center cost us $4 grand, which the insurance didn't cover, which I don't understand. Why the insurance wouldn't cover a birth center when it costs way less money than having a baby in a hospital, I don't get. I really don't understand why insurances don't cover birth centers and home births. It would cost them so much less money. But I guess that's not what they care about, right? They just care about, you know, how much money they can make. And that's why holistic stuff isn't covered by insurances because it wouldn't make them any money for people to like get healed and, you know, not have problems, right? Does that sound right to anybody else? So anyway, yeah, we'd racked up this massive amount of credit card debt, and for a long time, that's actually until recently, that's where all of the money that I made from like affiliate sales came from, which took 2.5 years. It took me a long time to make any amount of money that would pay off this credit card. Plus I was paying interest, like, you know, all along the way, so it ended up being more than $10,000. So I never talked about any of that throughout this whole thing. I never said, you know, I need you guys to use my affiliate link so I could pay this credit card debt down, because for my insurance, like, it's not my goal to make anybody feel guilty to like use my links or whatever. And I do feel like there are people out there who do that, where they'll say, you know, like, this is my full-time job, please use my links, or I have like this massive amount of student loan debt, use my links, whatever. I mean, if that's what other people want to do and you are totally fine with that, like, that's great, but that's not me. For me, that wouldn't be authentic, and I would feel terrible acting in that way. So I'm just gonna tell you real quick. What I'm gonna do is use this all over the lid, which is the shade Topaz. Then I'm gonna use the shade Diamond in the inner corners, and then I'm gonna use the shade Manifest. Yeah, Manifest, which is this like green underneath the lash line. So anyway, yes, up until recently, that is where pretty much all of the extra income that I made from blogging went. It was to pay down Oliver, basically. So thank you guys to every single person who has ever taken a recommendation from me and clicked my link. You guys helped fund my child. And I sincerely thank you guys for that, because if it wasn't for this and it wasn't for you guys, it would have taken me forever to pay that off. You know, I don't make a lot of extra income from my job. Like the occasional week that I get to, you know, work some overtime, it would have taken me like a decade to pay that credit card off. I know that it would have. So that is finally paid off. It took me so long to do, which is why I now have the funds freed up to do all these extra projects that I want to work on. So I don't have to pay down this credit card debt anymore, so now I can work on more fun things and spend more money on stuff to create more content for this channel. So am I making a point? I don't know. The point for me is that I don't want to have to ask you guys to fund my hobby. So if I can find sponsored content that makes sense for my Instagram and my YouTube or whatever, I will do it. So if you see it from time to time, know that it's because I thoroughly vetted it. And it's something that I would definitely recommend to you guys, and I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad doing. You know, and if you want to support me in other ways when I, you know, don't have sponsored content, which will probably happen only a couple times per year unless I get lucky, yeah, just if anything that I recommend to you guys and you want to try and you feel like clicking my links, I just want to say thank you, because it really does. It helps me do more fun, creative things that I've been wanting to do. And now that Oliver's a little bit older, he's more independent. He plays pretty independently. Like, he's probably the most independent 2-year-old. Honestly, I let him play independently a lot. He's napping right now. He's not like, you know, hanging out by himself somewhere. He's napping. But he plays independently really, really well. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy that he's such an independent player, and he doesn't need constant stimulation from us. Every once in a while he wants it, you know, he'll come in with a book, or he'll come in with his trains and he wants to play specifically, but he spends a lot of time playing by himself. And I like to support that, because I want to make sure that he can do those things when he's older and he's not one of those kids who can't play independently. I think it's good for him. You know, when he gets time with other people, he loves it and it's great. But I like letting him play pretty independently. So anyway, yeah. Now that he is playing independently, I've got this massive debt paid off. I can do more fun things. I definitely have lots of ideas for things that I want to do. But yeah. So anyway, that's where I was going with that. You know, I know that you guys have never like asked me about Patreon, which honestly, thank you. Thank you for not even suggesting it, because I think you guys know that that wouldn't be me. But if anybody was ever wondering, I felt like giving that really long explanation as to why I will never have a Patreon. You know, YouTube pays pretty much like buckus. I'm lucky if I make $100 a month from, you know, like YouTube, from like my views and everything. And I bet if I was like, I don't know, if I like was more consistent and things like that, that would pay a little bit more, but it doesn't. So pretty much where all the money I make from doing this is affiliate links. So if you guys ever click on those and you ever use them, I really, really do thank you, because it helps me do more creative things. And I honestly, I'm at the point where I would rather buy my own stuff anyway than receive a bunch of PR, because I feel like that's just all blogging is becoming these days, is people want to be influencers and they just want to receive as much free stuff as possible. That sort of seems like the trend to me, and I don't want to be in that category. I would, you know, I want to work with the brands that I love to work with, like Mahalo and Modern Minerals and Red Apple Lipstick, and you know, the brands that I've worked with forever. But like, as far as new brands go, I don't know. Like, if there's new stuff that I want to try, I'm out there buying it myself. I'm not really reaching out to companies anymore, because what I do hear from, you know, brands that I work with is that they're just like inundated with emails about people, you know, constantly emailing in asking for free product. And I don't want to be one of those. I don't want a brand to like be like, oh, here's another somebody else just like asking for free stuff. It's just my thought process. So anyway, that's just what I've got going on right now. There is something pretty exciting in the mailbox that's launching next week from Leilani. I'm real excited about that. I just didn't go get it before Oliver went down for a nap. You know, even, you know, there are companies that I work with that I still, you know, every company is different. Every company that I work with is a little bit different. Some are just like, you know, let me know whatever you need. Others, you know, don't offer that, and I buy, you know, a lot of my own stuff still. Every company is different. Did that even make a difference? Yeah, it did. So now let's do the under eye. I'm gonna take this sultry smudge brush from MOTD Cosmetics. I was using the Red Apple Lipstick wet dry eyeshadow brush before that. See, I'm just gonna take this green and smudge it underneath the line. So that's really all that I've got going on right now. I'm working on testing stuff, trying to figure out this hair, because right now it looks like I just like rolled out of bed, which I mean, I guess I kind of did, but I did try to curl it, which I'm not very good at. You know, I'm 33 years old, almost. I can't curl my hair. I am finding more grays, or whites really, amongst my hair these days. I pull them out every time I see them, but I've never dyed my hair. I'm never going to. The most I'll do is like a daring cut like this. So yeah, that's the eyes. So now we're gonna do some mascara. And then I think all I have left is highlight and lips. But anyway, yeah, that's really all that I guess I kind of wanted to talk about. It's been on my mind a lot. Because I'm a very observant person, and I just sort of like see what everyone else does, and I'm just like, I know that I shouldn't care what everybody else does, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different agenda, and I shouldn't judge other people, but like, I think that's just unfortunately part of my personality, is that if I see somebody doing something that I like ethically and morally am opposed to, I tend to judge. And I don't mean to be that way. Just sort of is. Just sort of is. Unfortunately. I work on it. And I do try to like unfollow people who make me feel that way. But... And then there's that too. Who those people who like sort of use social media and like unfollowing. I don't know. I'm okay if you unfollow me, but I really don't want to hear like this whole story of like why you feel the need to unfollow me, or I don't need to hear an explanation, because it just makes me feel like shit about myself, you know? Like, I've had people who have been following me, who stopped following me, and then they felt like they need to make this like whole long explanation on stories about, you know, curating their Instagram feed or whatever, and how they don't want to follow people who make them feel bitter or uninspired. And really all that says to me is that you just don't like me anymore, and I'd rather not know about it. I'd rather not know that stuff than, you know, have to hear this whole long explanation about why you no longer want to follow me. I'm just like, I don't care. I unfollow people all the time for the same reasons. Like, if I no longer feel inspired by someone's feed or whatever, I will unfollow, but I don't feel the need to make an announcement about it, because that's just like the perfect opportunity to make someone feel shitty. Like, yes, if something on your feed doesn't make you feel good about yourself, unfollow it, but you don't need to give me an explanation as to why. It just makes me feel bad about myself. And again, that's just me. That's just my personality. Like, I think it's because, you know, I grew up bullied, like being told why people didn't like me, you know, my whole life, or not being liked my whole life. You know, just being told that someone doesn't like me, it makes you feel bad. I don't know. It's not supposed to be personal, but it's kind of hard to not take it personally, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's hard not to take that stuff personally. So I'm gonna try a new highlighter today. This is Whisper from Alima Pure. I've been using their Rose Gold. This one is a little pinker than I would like with this makeup look. I think I want to pick up, what is it, Lumina? Is there sort of champagne one? There's one that's more like yellow tone, which I think would be better with this, but we're just gonna go with this one because it's what I have. But anyway, I just think social media is full of that. There's just full of so many people who just make you feel bad about your life choices. If you're not organic enough, if you're not clean enough, if you're not green enough, if you're not whatever. I feel like they say, you know, do everything at your own pace, and if you are not this organic, or you are not this green, or you still use conventional products, like, don't feel bad. But then they never do anything except say those things to not make you feel bad about yourself. And I don't know, there's so many people out there that like make you feel bad about yourself, and if you ever are following anybody who makes you feel like crap about yourself, just like stop following them. I had to. There was a couple like bigger bloggers that constantly made me feel like shit, so I had to stop following them. I find like the bigger people get, the more inauthentic they get too. Just all the opinions today. Sometimes, you know, you just hold that stuff into for too long and it just all comes spilling out even though you don't mean to. But I'm a very real, like, opinionated person, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It depends on you, like how you take it. Do you take it as spiteful and like mean or jealous or whatever, or do you take it as like you see that stuff too and you know that I'm not just, you know, talking out my ass or whatever? I don't know. Everybody's different. So anyway, that's everything. That went pretty quick. So this is, yeah, that's sort of what I came up with. It was like, it's like a gold yellow eye with like a little bit of peachy lips and cheeks. a little bronzer. So yeah, hopefully over the next few weeks I'll figure out this hair situation. I'll figure out how to do it better and not just look like I rolled out of bed. Like my only issue is like I like to tuck it behind my ear, but now when I do that, it doesn't look the same because I have less hair. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm gonna try to wash it tomorrow and then redo it and see if I can get, you know, some better looking hair and not like bedhead. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too super rambly and negative. But I mean, that's stuff that I think about all the time, and I've talked about all this stuff before. But I kind of wanted to like throw my opinions in on like sponsored content, whatever, and I don't have a problem with it as long as it's authentic. But there are so many people like not doing it authentically, I think. But I mean, everybody's gonna do what's best for them. But I'm trying to do things more authentically and, you know, do stuff that speaks more to like my channel and my content, I guess. Like I just never want to come off as fake or I'm only in it for the money or whatever. I purely do this for fun and to help you guys. You know, nothing makes me like more happy or feel better about myself than when you guys email me or like DM me or whatever and you tell me how much my recommendations helped you guys. I mean, I'm not an esthetician, I'm not like a skin specialist. All I can give you is like my experience and my opinion on stuff that I've used, and for you guys to trust my opinion and my experience, it makes me feel good about myself knowing that I helped somebody else with their skin issues just as like I've helped myself with my skin issues. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Anyway, that's it for this week's rambly get ready for me. I don't know, maybe I should start doing these more often to like get more stuff off my chest, because I do a lot of videos where I don't talk about anything except like products, and sometimes I want to just talk and not talk about makeup or whatever, and just, so I think I just need to do this more often. I really like how this came out. I'll zoom in a little so you can see it. But yeah, there's like that gold yellow color, there's like a peachy color in the inner corner, and then there's like a dark green underneath. I don't know. I liked how it came out. And anyway, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.